Tony, you want to give an opening statement on the win?
Yeah, that was that ended in dramatic fashion, didn't it? Again, these guys are going to drive me crazy. I thought there was a point in that game where, we're up maybe 14, and I was looking at the score, hoping that we can turn that thing to 20. And I thought they were going to go on their run. I told these guys to shoot around. I just didn't like our spirit. Very lackadaisical. And not showing enough humility. Like, we know it's conference play, and we're going to get the best of everyone. And unfortunately, but also fortunately, we were able to squeeze out a win on the road. In conference play, I'll take it.
Questions for Jalen first?
Jalen, just what did you think of how you guys were able to handle their comeback and then just sort of kind of grinding yet another one out there in the final minute or two?
Like Coach said, during one of the media timeouts, he told us a run was coming. And, I feel like we handled it well. We got down 3 or something, 3, I think. We made good plays on defensive end, and we executed on offense to withstand a storm.
You guys have obviously been in a few of these types of games.
Right.
Do you guys feel comfortable in this sort of rock fight, trip to the dentist, however you want to put it?
I'll say yes. We guard the ball very well. We play very good team defense. So we just know a stop is coming. So, yeah, I think we are very comfortable.
Anything else for Jalen?
17-7. I think they played zone some. Can you talk about what you saw that led to a good game?
They ball screen coverages. It was very different. They try to mix it up, and I just tried to be in the play and also make plays for my teammates as well. I scored the ball very well, but I feel like I passed the ball very well as well. And just like for the aspect towards in the game, it was just very well for us offensively.
End of the game, you wave everybody off and you want to take Jones. You want to keep that assignment. Is that what you wanted to do? Defensively, you guarded him.
Yeah, just know at the end of the game situation, we don't want to give them those threes when we're up 2. So, I tell my teammates all the time, sometimes if I'm guarding the ball by myself, I'd rather challenge at the rim and let them make a tough play before we help and they make a 3.
Jalen, at the start of the second half, you appeared to have sort of an interaction with Chris Caputo on the GW sideline. Can you just share what happened there from your perspective?
It was just competitive trash talk at the end of the day. I was looking for my friend, Darren Buchanan, call him June. So I was looking for June, asking where was June at. And, at the end of the day, it was a competitive trash talk.
Very good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
How did you kind of weigh the two things here, right? Like, you guys played, defense pretty much throughout, maybe with an exception of about 5 minutes, but you're also in this, dicey situation, and 53 points almost wasn't enough.
Yeah, as a coach, I'm super greedy, especially because I know the potential. I know who we are defensively. It's been a main reason why we're 18-5 now. It's a main reason why we're one of the better teams defensively in the country. We're going to always have a pretty solid or above average defensive night. I got to take a little bit of credit, or I should say the opposite of credit. I thought our guys were lethargic today. I think after the second time out, they had 6 points. And we just did a bunch of uncharacteristic things offensively where we could have really went into the locker room at halftime, probably up 10, 12 points, and that kind of sets the tone for your game. I can't wait to watch the tape. But again, it's a league win. I'm happy.
KD's play, particularly the defensive end, obviously the steal there at the end gets some attention, the 4 steals overall. It seemed like he's kind of coming along for what you guys wanted.
Yeah, KD Johnson's a 5-year guy. KD Johnson, he scored more points than anybody on his team, and he did it in the SEC. That's the reason why I recruited KD Johnson, just because I thought his experience, his tenacity, kind of matched with Jared Billups, Woody Newton, a group that was really good defensively last year. But we recruited to our Patriot pressure, and KD Johnson is a major piece of it. Sometimes you look at the box score, and, he only had 1 point in 23 minutes. But I think it's safe to say KD Johnson was a major, major part of our defensive possessions down the stretch.
At one point, right before the under-16 timeout, you and Chris Caputo had an exchange. You seem like you're commiserating over the officiating or something there. Can you talk about what happened there?
I spoke to Puto like 2-3 times in that game. I don't even remember. I honestly don't remember that moment, what I said to Caputo.
You were kind of alluding to this earlier, like being happy to have a league win. Mason's had a lot of trouble in this building over the years. I mean, it's obviously not an apology situation at all for the way you play. But do you just kind of feel fortunate just to get the heck out of here, basically?
Yeah, I'm super ecstatic. I live 35 minutes up the road, and even though this was a road game, it's a little bit of an easier drive back home. But it's that time of the year. There's a lot of teams that get put in this situation down the stretch, and they don't come out with this win. And so you've just got to be able to take it. And I'm looking forward to homecoming on Saturday versus Rhode Island.
Along those lines, Tony, what does it say for you guys to have been able to grit out a win when things could have easily gone by the wayside after you guys?
Yeah, I think that's the variable of having a bunch of seniors. Katie Johnson, Woody Newton, Darius Maddox, Jared Billups. Who am I forgetting? We've got 5 seniors, and when you have guys that are committed, guys that have stayed the course, have stayed together. You look at us right now. Obviously, we're in first place in our league, but from a statisticals category, there's not one person that's, top 20 in scoring. No one jumps at you when you look at our league stats. And so that, to me, is a committed group. And when you have a committed group and when you have an older group, these guys are just finding different ways to just win ball games. I'm happy. I'm proud of them. Again, we could have easily lost this game. But as you see, we had older guys in the game at the end of the game. And GW is a really talented young team, and I think that was really the deciding factor down the stretch.
And on a night where the threes weren't falling for you guys, how important was it to have Jalen being able to produce the way he did, especially late? Yeah,
Jalen Haynes is so skilled. He's too skilled. I consider him a mismatch nightmare in our league. I'm glad he's on our side. He's got to have a little bit more poise because he is going to see some double teams, but he's going to see a lot of double teams. He's got to make his free throws. But having a guy like that you can throw the ball inside to, having a guy like that you can run some offense on the perimeter with, it's just a tough guard. He's physical. He can make plays. Sometimes he's your best passer. He's your best rebounder. He's your best scorer. He's elite. I've got to get him to be a little bit more elite with his mental and just staying locked in because, as we get down the stretch here, we're going to get the best of everyone, and he's just got to be prepared for it.
Zach Anderson led in minutes. I'm wondering, was there a reason for that? Was it something mismatch-wise versus GW? And, it seems like we're trying to get him some more open looks. Just talk a little bit about Zach.
Yeah, I just thought his energy was there to start the game with. He had a couple rebounds. He had 6 rebounds. That's probably Zach Anderson's season high right there, to be honest with you. He had a couple 50-50 balls. He made 2 threes for us early. I like the matchup with him guarding Castro because we were able to just kind of mix it up. When watching film against, watching other teams against GW, the one thing that I thought I didn't want to see tonight was the lob. I didn't want to see the lob out of the ball screen. And so we kind of took that away with Zach Garden, Castro. We were able to junk it up and switch it up a little bit. Zach's playing well. And, again, it's any given night it could be Zach. Any given night it could be Woody. These guys are committed to each other. And, he's been playing some really good basketball as of late. And so, again, if we're able to get 2 or 3 guys playing really well, we're a tough group to beat.
And then talk a little bit about Begg. It's getting solid minutes off the bench, scoring buckets when he gets the chance. Just want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, this was a Justin Begg game. To be honest with you, I should have probably played him more just because the one reason I think GW's a lot better this year, they press you. They try to junk it up defensively. And anytime they do that, my offense was pretty trash tonight. And so what you have to do is just put your natural playmaker in the game. And I think Justin Begg is probably our most natural playmaker. Just put him out there and let him just be a basketball player. And I thought he did that in spurts. You're seeing his minutes go up. I don't know how I'm finding minutes for all these guys, to be honest with you. But he's a freshman that's growing, he's growing up every day. He's getting better.
Tony, just wanted to ask you about Jared Billups. He's kind of filled that glue role now more so, especially throughout the year. What does that kind of mean to you going so deep into conference?
Yeah, you're not 18-5 without Jared Billups. Jared Billups is our captain. He's our defensive anchor. If I had to give an award for how good we are defensively, I think it's safe to say Jared Billups would win it. You talk about another unselfish guy. This was a guy that started all the games for me last year. He started our first, I don't know, 5, 6 games this year. He ended up having a concussion and sitting out. He has not been in the starting lineup since, but it has not changed who Jared Billups is. That type of mindset, that type of sacrifice is a major piece of our success. And so, to be honest with you, I'd love to clone Jared Billups because he's leaving me in 2 months.
Also, real quick, do you see him more playing that 4 spot every now and then? Because I know sometimes you like to slide him in there just in case defensively.
Yeah, game to game. I can't give it all away, man. Game to game, he's versatile enough to play, 2, 3, 4 positions, just depending on different matchups and schemes and stuff like that. All right, appreciate it.
All right, we've got Christian Jones and Rafael Castro. Raise your hand. We got a lot of people here today, so raise your hand. We'll get going with questions. Whoever wants to get us started. Dave, go ahead.
Christian, 15 of your 17 coming in the second half. What do you feel was working for you? What were you able to take advantage of?
Like the coaches just kept running stuff for me, so I just took advantage of it. I'd like to switch it to put it on me, and that's really it. Yeah.
For both of you guys, just what did you think was wrong with the offense tonight?
I'd say just a slow start. It's kind of hard. You get scored 13 points in the first half. It's hard to come back from that at any level.
Yeah, the same thing like you said. It was just hard to come back. The offense the defense had to stagnate at some point, and we couldn't get out of it. So yeah.
And Rafael, another double-double for you tonight. For a team that's had a lot of up and downs, how do you think you've been able to stay so consistent this season?
Just trusting my teammates and them trusting me, and them instilling the same confidence I try to give them every game. Just going off that.
Hey, Christian, tough last two possessions. You just talk about what you could take and move forward.
I mean, them last 2 possessions, what I can take is that I know my teammates got me at the end of the day because they all try to keep my head up and it worked. So yeah, just that, just going to my teammates and stuff like that.
Question for both of the players. Mason leads the conference. You guys, they took really good punches from you guys tonight and then in Fairfax as well. What was that little thing that was missing tonight and the other night that allowed them to post 2 wins and a sweep over you guys?
Credit to Mason for getting the win. A really good team, but I feel like both games was really winnable, and I feel like we gave both of them. We gave both the games away.
Yeah, definitely gave both of them.
Any other questions for student athletes, David?
Rafael, Tony Skinn talked about how he was really trying to focus the defense on throwing different looks at you and sort of preventing the lob threat. Can you talk about sort of what you saw there and why that kind of worked in only 10 points?
I'll say I'm pretty comfortable working out the double team. I kind of just initiate it, and when my teammates are open, I'm gonna hit them every time. So trusting that they'll make a shot all game.
Any other questions? Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Miss the H-Dog. Yeah.
We just got a big crew for this one.
All right, we'll start with the opening statement for coach and then questions.
Yeah, another great game. Well, I don't think that first half is going to Springfield. They're not going to be asking for that to put in the offensive vault. Yeah, you know, two really good defensive teams. Obviously, Mason's exceptionally good defensively. We had an easier time scoring on them in the first half there than we did the first half here. But they're difficult to score on, and you know, proud of my guys. You know, we have a little bit of the same sort of execution down the stretch issues that come up, but you know, I got playing a freshman point guard, and you know, we have to find a way to kind of do a little bit better in those situations. It's obviously very consistent. We've been in 1,000,000 one possession games, and it's probably a little bit of our, you know, Gerald's obviously a senior, but, you know, two other guys in the backcourt are sophomores. Backup's a sophomore. Backup to that guy is a freshman, you know, freshman. So, you know, a lot of youth there, a lot of inexperience, but, you know, obviously Mason's really, really good. They've done a great job. And they've kind of been on the other side of a bunch of now these close ones, right? The overtime game at their place against us, overtime against Loyola, close call at Davidson. So they're a veteran team that's finding ways, obviously, to be really good defensively and then win these close ones.
Patrick, you kind of mentioning those games, like you walk out of here with two tight one-possession losses to Mason this season, and they're first place. Like, do you kind of look at it as, you know, your snake bit? Do you look at it as there's not that much of a difference between you guys and them?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, listen, I have an all-conference player that hasn't played a minute and won't play a minute this season. So I know you guys are probably tired of hearing that, but again, like I couldn't really replace him in June, right? I can't replace 6'8", 40%, 14 points a game guy like in June unless you guys all pulled all your money together that you have in your piggy banks and gave it to me, and then maybe we could find the guy that late. But we weren't going to be able to do that. I don't think anybody was offering that up. So I'm proud of my guys where we are. I think Mason's really good. I think we're right there. I just think, again, we have a little bit of inexperience, a little bit of, you know, a lack of shooting, you know, at times. And it does cost you when you play against really good teams. And that, you know, that's what our league is filled. I mean, it's not these two games. I mean, of our 6 losses now, 5 of them are like this. 5 of them are one possession at Richmond. Duquesne, they 3 points with 1:18 to go, and we made a layup. You know, they blocked a shot that they called back as not a goaltend, so that would have been 1 point with 1:18. LaSalle we're in the same boat the other day, and then I'm missing one. But in any case, yeah, I think we're in a good place, but we have to find a way to close these games in the next 8 to just feel like we've, you know, taken a big step forward. Yeah.
After the first half, you guys came out and shot 54% after
Yeah.
intermission. You rally from 13 points down. You take the late lead.
Yeah.
What was working for you guys?
All right, Christian Jones was working. I thought I'd have to look at it, but that's the one that comes to mind. Some matchup that we saw, and he was able to take advantage of it, and obviously kind of rode him then down the stretch. But yeah, I thought that was, you know, we found something that I thought was pretty good for us, and obviously we were able to. It's hard with them. Is a lot. You try to keep Billups away from your guys who are, you know, trying to score. He's just so good defensively. Almost like a Ed Reed. You try to like go. All right, we're not throwing at him. You know what I mean? So, but we were able to find some stuff. I thought, yeah.
Hey, is Buchanan 100%? Because it seems like also when he's had the ball, and he averaged 15 points a game last year, he's been reluctant to even face up or even go to the basket. That one drive for an
That was a good drive and one. Yeah.
Hasn't even really looked to score offensively the last few games.
Well, I thought he had a good one against UMass. We came back. Can't totally remember. We won 2. I can't remember who. Oh, St. Louis. I thought he had his cleanest offensive game against LaSalle. I thought he did really good work there. You know, I think every team's just different. The makeup of your team is different. When guys have a real unique skill set, I think I've talked about this in the past. You know, when you have James Bishop, anytime you set a screen, there's going to be 2 guys on James Bishop. That makes it a lot easier for the guy setting the screen, right? When you have Garrett Johnson and you go two-man game on the side together and they want to like soft switch that, Garrett Johnson's shooting a three, so they don't soft switch, they put two on the ball. Or if that switch happens physically, now you're switching maybe a three-man onto Darren Buchanan who can catch it on the block. So every team is a little bit different. The makeup of this team, you know, we're very unique. We lead the league in assists by field goals made. I probably dropped tonight because we only had 9, but again, Mason's hard. We're last in three-point shooting, and we're first in assists by field goals made. So we're moving the ball well. Darren's a part of that. I felt like the way we're playing offensively, we have to work to every day to like try to figure out what can give us a little bit of edge. But I think if you look at the diet of shots and the process, it's pretty healthy, you know. And so we're going to keep going with that. And Darren's a big part of it. Like I said, against LaSalle, I thought he had his really clean offensive game with his cutting and his some of the plays he made.
Matt? I asked Gerald the other day what you guys had to do to get over the hump in these kind of close games, and he said pay attention to the little things. Has that been a message from you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good when players say that, but I think we've done a good job of that. You don't get to this point against the good teams in close games if you're not paying attention to those things. You know what I mean? Like, I think we've done a good job. I think, we had 3 turnovers and 2 missed free throws in those last 4 possessions. We called a timeout to try to get it in the side. It didn't work. It was bad. That's on me. I thought when we got the shot clock violation, Joe caught the ball with 4 seconds with a very clean-looking catch-and-shoot shot. He should have shot. And I told him that on Haynes. And then CJ gets fouled, misses both. We could have been up 1 there with 30 seconds. And then, quite honestly, with Haynes on, if you call timeout with 12 seconds there, you risk happening what happened the last time I called timeout. We took it on the side, right? You put Billups on the guy who we want to have the ball. So I have our point guard, Haynes guarding our point guard. And yeah, we could probably tweak some spacing things there, but like at that point, I'm like, hey, let's go, rock out. Like, hey, shoot, actually. Like, and I'm not blaming CJ. Again, I have a freshman point guard who had a hell of a game against a great defensive team, but I'm saying, like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking as the clock is ticking, I'm thinking timeout, but then I'm saying, well, if I call a timeout, am I going to get this matchup out of this timeout? Probably not. I probably got Billups guarding him. That's not good. So my thought is probably passed on 2 shots, 1 a catch and shoot. And honestly, I think he probably should have just bounced it and shot to try, down 2 there to try to win the game. And then at least Haynes is out on the perimeter. Maybe you get in there and you crash, you get an offensive rebound, right? But that's a little bit. So I don't know if those are the little things or it's just like, hey, that's just what comes with the experience of being burnt a little bit and learning as a young guard, Gerald's got no excuse. You just shoot the damn thing. He didn't need to bounce it and get a shot clock violation. Just let it fly. So.
You've talked about not having Garrett playing a big role in this, but after another tough three-point shooting night like tonight, what's your advice to the guys? And is there anything
maybe we'll stop. I mean, we shoot every. We do 2 days every day. We shoot every day. Like, we've helped guys in the past become better shooters throughout the years. Brendan Adams is a good guy to think about here. He had 27 for 4 years and was 37. So it's all the same stuff, and we're trying to help. I do think that there's a little bit of personnel stuff there, but water usually finds its level, and our variance has just been so different. Now again, I got to give credit to Mason because they're so good defensively. Like they make it hard. Those shots are not as clean as they look sometimes, even on film, because the guys are fast and they're long and they're giving great effort. So. It's a little bit why, they shot, Billups threw one in tonight, but we probably gave him 1 open one or 2 open ones that I didn't like. But other than that, we do a pretty good job guarding the line too because we're giving great effort. So.
Hey, saw you and Jalen Haynes kind of down in the first half. What happened?
Yeah, no, I mean he's a great player and he's a very good competitor and I just don't like when guys talk to our bench, so it's fine. I actually. Tony and I had a laugh about it like at half court, so it's all good. I just, I'm not going to let little kids, even though he's a big kid, talk to my bench or me in any way. But he's a great player and he's a really good competitor. I really enjoyed watching him on film and it was all good. And, Tony and I were laughing a little bit at half court about it.
Christian, with, a pair of free throws in the last 30 seconds, as you mentioned, can you just talk about, the team's struggles at the free throw line, down the stretch of these last few games here?
Yeah, you try to help them with some of the mental parts of what to do in those situations. I think that's always a funny thing, is like, how much do you make light of it with a guy? I did some stuff with Slim this week. He missed his first two. I felt terrible when he missed them. I thought I shouldn't have done that. And then he made his next two, so maybe maybe then I felt better about myself. It was all about me, so I felt better about myself. But no, it's a fine line, right? How much you mess with a guy's free throw in the middle of the season versus just trying to make sure we're shooting him and give him some confidence and things like that. Talk a little bit about breathing and things like that.
8 games remain in the regular season, and even after tonight's loss, still, a lot to be written about this team,
Yeah.
especially with how tight the A-10 is,
Yeah.
where you guys are. What gives you cause for confidence about your guys moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the confidence is we've been able to compete really against anybody, at a pretty high level, and we've had our chances. I've got to continue to do a better job helping these guys find ways to win these close games. You can't lose your spirit, which, we shouldn't. There shouldn't be any reason for that. And then you also can't lose your nerve. Like, you got to be, hey, you're open, shoot it. You got to kind of let fly. And so, I think where we are, for people who've been following our program, is we're certainly more competitive than we've been in quite some time. And that's good. Now, it's not the end for what we want, but, that's the first step in this thing is making it, very, very difficult to play against us. And I think for the most part, that's been the case, even, when we've been a little bit shorthanded here without Garrett.
Anything else? Abe, last
16 for 20 from 2 today. I know Mason came in number 2 and Ken Palmer 2 points.
Yeah.
Were you happy with 25?
We've actually, what were we, 16 for 20 from 2?
Yeah.
For the game? Yeah, and again, it's a little bit like we've scored at the rim better on them than actually anybody they've played. But I think, they probably forced us into a couple threes at times where maybe we could have gotten a little bit better. But it's not like it's easy to score, get a lot of twos against them either. Like, they're really good at defending. So, going to have to kind of watch it. It may be just, quite honestly, like, I think our guys did a good job of sort of choosing which twos to shoot. And then again, probably could pass on 1 or 2 of those threes early in the clock or whatever, where we might be able to generate another one. But it's pretty good against a team that's like, I don't know, top 5 in the country at defending the 2, The 2 was not our problem today.
All right, thanks, everybody.
All right, see ya.
Thank you. Out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.